If you want to level up and put more units on the board, what do you need? Go. If you want to buy stronger unit, upgrade your board and beat everyone else in your lobby, what do you need? Go. And if your shop gives you 5 units you absolutely do not want, and you want 5 new options instead, you guessed it, we need more. Go. TFT is basically a miniature version of society. Money makes everything tick. Whether you like it or not, the moment you queue into a game, you're entering a tiny capitalism competition where 8 players are fighting over limited resources. And if you want to consistently beat on other players in your lobby, the fundamental concept that affects almost everything else that you must learn, economy, we're going to talk about it in this mini lecture. Let's begin. One of the most common misconceptions about TFT economy, even among players who have been playing for years, is this: if I want to become richer, I need to make more money. Technically, that's not wrong, but that's only half of the equation. If you actually want to improve your economy, there are 2 things you need to care about. 1. Increase your income, which is making more gold. And 2. Reduce your expenses, which is spend the gold on the right things. Make more matters, but stopping yourself from throwing the hard-working money away matters just as much. For now though, let's focus on the first half of the equation, to increase your income. Through our TFT game, there are 5 econ engines that can create more gold for you. I call them WISTA. The W stands for round winning, I stand for inches, S stands for street, T stands for dress, and finally A stands for augments. Not all economic advantage is created in the same way, so we can divide WISTA into 2 categories: Econ Gold and Temple Gold. Let's start with the Econ Gold. Think of Econ Gold like putting money into a savings account and collecting interest. It's kind of safe, it's consistent, you don't have to risk much, but in exchange, the potential return is usually limited. How about Temple Gold? Think of Temple Gold more like investing in a business. You spend resources now to create a stronger board, hoping your investment generates more value. The upside is higher, but so is the cost, and so is the risk. In other words, high risk, high return for Temple Gold, and low risk, low return for Econ Gold. Nothing revolutionary here, that's just how investment works. So whether WISTA fits into these 2 categories, the W round winning and the WS the win streak belong to Temple Gold. To win fights consistently and maintain a win streak, you usually need to invest resources into becoming stronger than the lobby. You're focused on the now because you expect your board strength to pay you back through the W and WS. Meanwhile, the I interest, T dress income, and LS loot streak belong to Econ Gold. These sources reward you for preserving or sacrificing in exchange for more gold value. And the last one, the A augments, are flexible. This sort can belong to either side. Some augments directly strengthen your economy, others strengthen your board, which can indirectly generate more gold through the W and WS. So depending on what the augment does, and of course how you use it, A can function at either Econ Gold or Temple Gold. And this distinction matters for one very important reason. Econ and Temple naturally compete with each other. If you spend your limited resources to maximize one economic engine, you often sacrifice your ability to maximize another. And that leads us to one of the most important ideas in TFT economy. You usually cannot optimize every sort of WISTA at the same time. Let's use trade income as an example. Suppose you pay in certain units specifically because the trade generates additional gold. Those units are occupying board slots that could have been used by stronger combat units. So yes, you're gaining econ value from the T, but your ball may be weaker than a player who is using every slot purely for combat strain. And because your ball is weaker, it becomes harder to compete for the W and WS. You gain asset to one economic engine, but you paid for it by reducing your asset to another. That's the trade-off. Now look at the opposite situation. Suppose you're generating most of your income through the W and WS. To maintain a guaranteed income, you usually have to invest aggressively into your ball. You might level up earlier, you might hold several pairs, you might buy upgrades that a greedier player would skip. All of those decisions make your ball stronger, but they also cost gold, which means that while your W and WS income goes up, you may sacrifice some I inches, and depending on your rank, you must also give up the T to prioritize more ball strength. Again, you gain one source of value by giving up another. You just can't get everything for free. Once you understand the mechanism, the question is no longer, how do I collect all 5 sources of WISTA? The better question is, given my current spot, which economic engine should I prioritize? That is a completely different way of looking at the game. In most rounds, you'll realistically be leaning on around 2 or 3 major engines at the same time. You might play around the W and WS, accept that you're sacrificing some IRT, or you might prioritize IT and LS because you can't compete for the round winning goal. Neither approach is automatically correct. It depends entirely on your spot, and that's the important part. High-level TFT Capitalism isn't just about making the most gold possible. It's about choosing the right economic engines for the spot you're actually in. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait, there are definitely more ways to get gold than WISTA. And yes, you may be right, but also you may be wrong. I don't think every sort of gold value needs to become its own category. Take the Carousel. Yes, taking a higher cost unit technically gives you more gold value, but what happens to that value afterwards? If you sell the unit, that value fits into the I. If you keep the unit because it makes your ball stronger, that value contributes to the W. Maybe that unit you bring home from the market activates an econ trade. Now it fits into the T. So instead of creating a completely separate category called Carousel Econ, you can simply check where that value ends up. Same thing with the BVE loot. The odds might give you champions and gold. If the value helps you hold an interest breakpoint, it's supporting the I. If it strengthens your ball and lets you win more fights, it's supporting the W and WS. If it helps activate an economic trade, it's supporting T. So I don't think of Carousel or BVE loot as separate economic systems. I think of them as input that fit into the WISTA engines. That's the point. WISTA doesn't describe where every resource comes from. It describes how you monetize those resources into an advantage. WISTA is the cleanest system. I've spent a very long time trying to build a framework that actually helps me to make better decisions in-game. And only when I start thinking about economy this way did I finally hit Challenger. So that's the first half of TFT Economy, learning the ways of a capitalist slave. Hope you like the WISTA system, and if you disagree with any part of it, feel free to leave your argument in the comments down below. I'll read them all for sure. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Help me share it if you found this useful. In part 2, we're going to talk about the other half, reducing your expenses.